Three, two. Hey, welcome to I'll Cheese Cheese, the show that keeps you informed, inspired, in the know. I am joined by Romero Spivey.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, and so again, I don't want to keep you waiting. We're just going to jump right into the video.
Seeing a lot of Latinos who were brought into this country by their parents talking about, I see, gracias a Papa Dios, he helped me with my papers, y tas, I voted for Trump. Deja. Papa Dios is not the reason why you're here legally. There are programs, policies, and procedures that allowed you to become legal in this country with the help of a lawyer and your parents. Papa Dios didn't wake up one day and say, I see, pinche culera, papers. No, 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 no. That is not how this works. And then you become a citizen and get the privilege to vote. And you look to your left, you look to your right, you look behind you, and you on your little pedestal, go chiquitito your pedestal. You look at the millions of immigrants that are using similar programs your parents use, and you spit right in their face. Somebody make it make sense because the math is not mathing for me. Two things my immigrant parents taught my proud Ecuadorian American asses. One, have empathy. And two, never forget how I got here. It's because of programs like that that allowed my parents to give me the privilege that I have now. And I would never look to the left, look to the right, and look behind me and spit in anyone's face. You are disappointing. I'm seeing.
He ate that.
He did.
He ate that. Can't say nothing. We can't say nothing about that. He ate that. I think I have a lot. You know, I have Latins in my family. I have white.
Yes.
I have the whole rainbows.
Come on,
everybody. And you know, we was having a conversation regarding Latin people getting in. I don't know what type of mental illness this is with some people. It's like, oh, we want them to come in legally, like how we're legal. I said, but you're forgetting, abuela and abuelo. They came in the same way they did. They were not legal at the time. They stayed here for years and years, and sometimes decades before they were even approved for citizenship. They got approved for citizenship, and now they're legal, and now you're legal.
Right.
It's just like I try to process that with them. It's just like people are very selfish. They want to be able to use the workarounds that work for them, but when it comes to other people, oh no, we don't want that. What do you think of that?
I just think it's really some bullshit. And then they always want us to, like you were saying earlier in a different episode, they always want us to come join in and rally the troops when there's an issue. Now that they're getting, kicked out the country because they're illegal, and even some that were getting their certain visas or whatever, they were on their way to being legalized citizens. Only thing I can tell them is in Spanish, buena suerte pera. In other words, good luck, bitch. Because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because no one, joins us when we have a fight. It's always it's always us as a victim. But now they see the system don't care about all that. My Latin brothers and sisters, you see, the system doesn't care. They treat you just like they treat us, and they always have. But when you become legal, you want to be one of those quote unquote elites.
And I'm telling you right now, with the way the deportation thing is going on right now, I was telling somebody, and somebody tried to argue with me. They was like, "Oh, well, you know what? They're just taking illegals." I said, "Let me tell you,
right?
They're gonna start targeting anybody that looks Latin, Spanish, speaks Spanish."
Yep.
They already had an issue with some Puerto Rican family. They had an issue with the guy that's currently in El Salvador right now. That's a big story. I keep forgetting his name, but it's a big story where they just round him up and sent him to El Salvador. One of the senators went to go visit. Yeah, it was a whole big story. I said, I told y'all. Y'all keep saying, "Oh, I'm not that type of Latin," or "I'm not that type of this." I said, they all consider y'all the same.
They do.
What are you not processing? We are in 2025. I am so sick of people being ignorant and like, oh, I don't understand. It's 2025. I'm sorry. The information is at your fingertips on these phones.
Yeah, they just want to equate with power, man, money and power and ignorance. You're right. I can't wrap my head around it, but they can wrap a mean hot dog. I bought a few. Shout out to the vendors here in LA. But if they get you, they're gonna get you, and it's gonna be sort of like when our people were racial. You know, we always being racially profiled. That's what ICE is gonna do to them. Because like you said, they're gonna start targeting anybody who speaks como está usted. Well, if you know, they're just gonna start targeting them.
And it's not gonna be nothing you do about it. And then I see a lot of videos, and I wish what I'm gonna do in a future episode, I'm gonna like post like what lads said before and what they said after, because it's just like with the Muslim, not Muslim, well, Muslims, Middle Eastern, however you want to call it. It's just like with them. They was like, oh, F Kamala and don't vote for Kamala.
Yep.
And Kamala this, and then now they're like, oh my God, Trump's going to take over Palestine, and oh my, he's with the Jews, and I'm just like,
did you not? Been telling you all along.
Did you not see the same thing that everybody else saw?
They saw what they wanted to see.
Yeah, it's just like, and one thing, I already knew that the men were not going to vote for Kamala. I was right. Like, because I know a lot of misogynistic men.
Correct.
I knew that and don't get me wrong, I understand, like, as a police officers, I don't think women should be police officers. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, it is.
They're too emotional. They're too emotional, and especially
some of them hold strong though.
Yeah, and then it's like, because I don't having to deal with, oh, I gotta prove myself. I'm not trying to stroke your ego. I don't have time for that. If you feel insecure as a woman to be a police officer or whatever, or to be in a high level ranking job position, that's your problem. But correct. You have to do that to a male because you have a badge on and you know that they can't defend themselves, and now you're tough. And that's when you see all these white women with these shooting these black men and arresting them and thinking they're tough. I said, you got a badge on. Ain't no 110-pound ass white woman really going up against a 235-pound black dude. That's not
right, full of adrenaline.
Let's keep it real. It's just like it's ignorance. So it's just like, everybody just want to. This is the thing. Everybody want to be associated so bad with whiteness, and now I think I told people it's too late. They was like, well, why don't we march? I'm glad that the black people set their ass home on April 1st.
I'm so glad they said, we've been marching so long, sit our ass down, let them march.
Yeah, because I said at the end of the day, I said the problem with this is that, and my uncle was telling me about this, and I spoke about this with somebody else, and I said, they have been marching for, let's say, hundreds of years now, okay? Right. Since the 1600s, let's just keep it real. They've been protesting and marching and uprisings and stuff, because everybody they don't put all those uprisings in the history books.
They don't.
There was a lot more uprisings in the history books that are not talked about. This is why white folks were scared of the slaves, because they was not playing with them. So
right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And so I told people, I said, when you look at the history of everything and how things kind of progressed, I said, we've been fighting for so long for everybody to have rights, and to know that black people did not benefit from DEI. And we did not benefit a lot from affirmative action, but it was white women and Latins and gays and veterans, all the people that shit on blacks. We just
benefited.
What's the point of keep fighting for stuff? When I heard that DEI, when they showed me the numbers, I think this was on Fox News. I don't really watch the show, but it was on one of the gym TVs. When they told me that it was 4%, I said 4%?
4%.
I said, do you understand? So that means the rest of us who was in these high-level positions really worked our asses off. Can't nobody deny it now.
Under the pretense that it was DEI.
Yeah. Exactly. I said 4%. I said that's such a low number. I can't even phantom that. I said, because you don't see that many of us anywhere.
Nope.
I said, so, and to know that they benefit from those things and then have the nerve to distance themselves to us. Me no like a black, don't date a black. We don't want to go to black. I'm like,
but you can get that money. Yeah.
That's why I told people stop supporting all those businesses. I said, let them support it. Have you noticed? This is one thing I noticed. Asians, I don't never see Asians in soul food restaurants.
I don't see Asians anywhere, but
they go to their own. They go to their own stuff.
They go to their own stuff. You're right. You never see. You're right. I never see them in urban restaurants. You're right. Never.
I don't see them in a lot of urban clothing stores. I see them I see like the Asian shops buy urban clothes, and then they
Oh
have
yeah, they're gonna be back.
they'll buy it, and then we have to buy it from them. I'm just like, even there was I think it was Bad Hair or Good Hair or something with Chris Rock, and they were talking about
That
the
movie.
product. Yeah, they were talking about how when black people try to buy the products, the hair and stuff, the sellers will sell it to them at 2 to 3 times the amount, but they'll sell it to the Asian vendors at almost bare minimum cost. And I'm just sitting here like, so how is that fair to us? You know what I mean?
Right.
I
And
said,
they know that. Yeah.
and so it's just like at this stage of the game, I said, if Trump gonna tear this stuff up, let him tear it up. I said, because
Yep.
people voted on this. This is what people wanted. Everybody think they are white. I said, y'all are not white. Y'all are a guest to the party. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
and now they're showing you that you're a guest to the party.
They're showing them.
They're just rounding people up now. And
And
now,
that's why you see, marches, Chris, with we're not there because it's not, and they're only out there because now they see they're being affected. If it was affecting us as a bigger number that you called out, which was that 4%, they wouldn't necessarily be out there now.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I tell them, I said, at the end of the day, it is what it is at this point. But you know what? Let's go to the comments. As
Oh yeah.
always,
This should
Real
be
Deal
interesting.
Hughley said what he said. Big Perm. You guys got Uncle Toms, we got Uncle Juans.
Those are good ones.
The Chris Garces. Thank you for this repost. Appreciate the love to this post. Bunch of claps and everything. Deethra Giles, never forget how I got here. That right there is a message people need to remember. And I said this,
Totally agree.
people said this before. People, you forgetting your ancestors, especially Latins, y'all were
Right.
illegally. Your abuela, whatever you want to call it, they were illegal
For
for years. And
years.
they finally got their citizenship, because I have family members that, married into a lot of Latin people, and they had to wait for citizenship for a long time. They were
Yep.
illegal.
And now they get over here and vote
And then now
Republican because they hate to relate to vote Democratic because everybody wants to relate being Democratic with black. That is just so absurd.
it's ignorant. And I said, but the problem is everybody used all of our stuff, all of our culture.
Everything.
Everything. I said, if you start looking at all the inventions and patents from black people, I said, this world would suffer without black people.
It would.
I said,
we wouldn't even have rhythm.
Even Thomas Edison, with his old line ass, he sat there and stole. They put out a report that 90% of his patents were invented by black people, and he just took them. I said, so y'all propping this white man up as this great guy, and I said he's a thief.
He's a thief, yeah, and we are the inventors. Yeah, I say that all the time.
Asheres said, "Love is action and energy. Say it louder for the fools in the back." The Johnny Cruz, MAGA Latinos punch in the air right now. And then La Mendez, what always gets me are the ones that say, my parents came here the right way. Did they? Is that what?
Right.
I just said this. They did not
come
here the right way. They were illegal for a long time. And then they apply after, they had to wait because there was a certain period you had to wait for and things of that nature. And then once you finally got it, then you became legalized. But they forgetting because they're born here now. They're like, oh, well, we didn't have to experience that. You're forgetting your history shows that, your family is illegal.
Your family is illegal, yeah.
Like if Trump ends that birthright citizenship, it's a wrap.
And he's leaning on it because Trump almost don't want to hear if you're not American.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Not American born, yeah.
I said it's a wrap. I said y'all gonna suffer. It's going to be a wrap. And I said there's nothing nobody can do about it. But as always, we will talk about this topic and other topics in the future. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please DM me at info on the go. Romero Spivey, thanks for joining me on today's topic today.
Of course.
And please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.